PuNkLe RoK! PuNkLe RoK! What is it, Giraffe? Will you tell us a story? All right, look out. Whoa! Hey, everybody. Welcome to Story Time with PuNkLe RoK. We've got a fantastic story picked out for you today, but, we can't remember all of it, so we might need your help thinking of some of it. Fantastic! All right, so we remember the first part. Once upon a time, there was a little princess. That's right, and this little princess lived in a giant castle. And one day, this princess decided to venture outside of the castle and go to... We can't remember where she went to. Help us fill in the missing pieces. A picnic table in the woods? Okay. So the princess left the castle, went all the way down the dirt road, all the way to the woods, where there were lots of trees sticking up, and there was a picnic table in the woods as well. And so the princess decided to have a delicious picnic at the picnic table in the woods. Only there was one problem. You know what that problem was? She forgot to pack a lunch. So she was sitting at the picnic table without anything to eat. And she's like, oh man, what am I going to do? But luckily for her, she had cellular reception on her cell phone. And she was able to call a local delivery service to place a delivery for some delicious food. But you know what? We can't remember what she ordered. What kind of food do you think she was in the mood for? A bunch of vegetables? Okay. So she ordered what? Not a bunch of vegetables? Okay. How about a mountain of candy? Fantastic. So this little princess ordered a mountain of candy. And there was candy of all sorts and kinds. There was chocolate bars and gummies and lollipops and candy canes and sticky candy and hard candy and soft candy and chewy candy and dandy candy and fine candy and yummy candy and salty candy and sour candy and sweet candy. There were so many kinds of candy that the princess forgot that she wasn't going to be able to eat all of this candy by herself on a picnic. And so she only had one idea. And you know what that idea was? To help her eat this mountain of candy she had? That's right. She invited her friends from the forest, woodland critter, Christmas critters. Well, something like that. She invited her friends over to eat some of the candy. So she invited her friend, the deer, out from the woods. And the little deer came out and said, "You're going to share all of this candy with me?" And he sat at the table, looking at the pile of candy with a giant smile on his face. And the little princess said, "Yes, I would love to share this candy with you. I ordered way too much. I can't eat all this candy." So the princess and the deer started eating the candy. And at first, they thought they could eat it all. But by the time they got halfway done with the candy, they were too full. They said, "Oh no, we ate too much candy. We need to invite another friend over here to help us finish this candy, or else we'll never eat it all." So you know who they invited? That's right. Their friend, the skunk. So their friend, the skunk, came over And he was like, I will help you eat all of this candy. There's kind of his stripe that goes down his back. And he's like, it looks delicious. So the skunk started eating the candy. But there was only one problem. The skunk couldn't eat that much candy. It was kind of tiny. So, he could only eat so much. So you know what happened next? That's right. They had to get more friends over there to help them eat this mountain of candy. That was now just a pretty big pile. It wasn't a mountain anymore, right? So, you know who they called next to come help them eat it? Okay, that's right, a bat. So, their friend the bat came over, and he started looking at the pile of candy, and he was like, well, I guess I can eat some of this candy, and it looks delicious, so okay. And he started eating it, but just like the skunk before him, he could only eat so much, and he got full. Before you know it, that bat, he was like, I ain't flying anywhere else tonight. Let me come kick it down there with you guys. So he just kind of went down and started hanging out with all of his friends around what was left of the mountain of candy. And you know what happened next? That's right. The princess was like, well, you guys do me a solid and finish this for me, because I got to get back home. It's getting late. So the princess left, went down the dirt road all the way back home. And the animals were like, well, looks like we got a bunch of candy left over. And then, they did whatever with it. They probably called more friends to eat it or something. But the princess went all the way back to the castle. And when she got there, the royal chef was outside waiting for her. And the royal chef said, Dear princess, I have prepared the royal meal for you for dinner tonight. And the princess, all of a sudden, she was starting to think of how she filled up on candy before the meal and was like, oh, no more food. I ate too much candy. She was not feeling good, and she was like, oh. She didn't want to really eat anything else. But the royal chef said, I prepared for you the best meal that you could ever possibly want to have. And at this, the princess kind of perked up a little bit and said, well, if it's the best meal I've ever had, maybe I could squeeze in a bite or two. And the royal chef presented her with what he had prepared. And guess what it was? You already know this one. That's right. He prepared the most delicious broccoli ever. It was so yummy, the princess couldn't stop eating it. In fact, the princess said, I need more broccoli. And she started ordering it by the pound. And there was so much broccoli that eventually the broccoli formed a broccoli mountain. There was broccoli all the way up to the top of the castle. And you know what happened then? The princess was like, uh-oh, I ordered too much broccoli. I can't eat all this. I better call my friends. And you know who she called first? That's right. She called her best friend. Dear? That's right. She called her best friend Dear. And when Dear poked his head in and said, oh my, that's a lot of broccoli that you have. And the princess said, yes, dear, it's a lot of broccoli. Will you help me eat it? And the deer said, well, I love broccoli and vegetables, so I sure will. And he started munching away at it. Then The princess was like, "Oh my, there's still so much broccoli." And you know what she did next? Called more of her friends. That's right. She called more of her friends. But this time, she decided that she would just tell them to come on over and help her out. Spread the word. So they all showed up at the same time. There was skunk and bat and, deer. They were all there. And they were able to eat all of the broccoli, except for one little piece that was left. And you know what they did with that little piece of broccoli? That's right. They split it into 4 pieces and shared it equally between the 4 people that were left out there. The end. Wow. Well, we hope you had yourself a fantastic time on this story time with us, and we hope to see you next time on Story Time with PuNkLe RoK.